What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news, keep you up to date, and keep you informed with everything that the government does. And the government's constantly on the move, y'all. They're constantly doing stuff in the forefront, in the limelight, in the background, underground, way underground. All kinds of stuff. They do a lot of stuff that we don't like, and that's what I'm here to bring to light, to let everybody know exactly what the government does, because most of the time what the government does, we don't like it. We don't like it whatsoever. The Biden administration is the worst administration in U.S. American history, hands down. Prove me wrong. Right? Like, somebody let me know down in the comment section, please, if there's any good accomplishment that the Biden administration has actually done, right? Like, you might say the Inflation Reduction Act. But hang on. All that has done is added more to inflation, right? It hasn't brought inflation down. Inflation's going back up. The housing market is crashing. Banks are failing all over the place. Hey, as a matter of fact, have you been to the grocery store lately? Tell me about how that's going, huh? Tell me exactly how that's going for you. Have you been to the gas pump lately? And how is that going for you? If you think the Biden administration is doing a good job charging the oil companies more money so the gas prices are going to continue to go up, charging more for leasing, for drilling on public lands and all this other stuff, yeah, they're just burning this country to the ground, smiling and laughing in your face while they do it and say, oh no, we're doing a great job, y'all. Oh, the economy's doing good. Forget what your pocketbook tells you. Forget what the gas pump tells you. Forget that your wages aren't going up. The economy is great, y'all. Look at the freaking stock market. Oh, hang on. The stock market just went way down in the past couple days. And like I said, banks are failing all over the place. Interest rates are through the freaking roof. We're not growing at all, despite what the politicians and the corporate press are telling you. But let's get into the news, because this is a pretty good story. It kind of lays out the funding of war package that is going to be brought up in the House very soon. So let's get into it. What's inside the $95 billion House package focused on aiding Ukraine and Israel? Oh, goody. Here we go. And I can't wait for all the comments to call me a Russian troll. Right? Like, I was born and raised in Louisiana, and I really, really dislike Russia a lot. So to call me a Russian troll, I find that hilarious, by the way. So continue to do it out there, you guys. Go ahead. You're just wasting your freaking time, because calling me a Russian troll doesn't change the fact that we're funding war to allow people to kill each other. But I digress. Speaker Mike Johnson has unveiled a long-awaited package of bills that will provide military aid to Ukraine and Israel, replenish U.S. weapon systems, and give humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza. The package totals $95.3 billion in spending, which matches the total that the Senate passed in mid-February. But there are also a few differences with the Senate bill designed to win over some House conservatives. Ukraine. The aid to support Ukraine totals about $61 billion. Republicans on the House Appropriations Committee said that more than a third of that amount would be dedicated to replenishing weapons and ammunition systems for the U.S. military. All right, so all y'all lefties out there that dislike the military-industrial complex so much, yeah, if you support this aid package to Ukraine, you support Ukraine, you got your little Ukraine flag in your profile picture, yeah, you're funding the military-industrial complex. That's what you're doing. More than a third of that goes to the military-industrial complex, folks, so they can build more bullets and more tank shells and more airplanes to send to Ukraine to let Ukrainians kill Russians and get killed by Russians. To stop Putin, right? Like, as if that's going to work. As if Ukraine isn't going to run out of people before Russia runs out of people. Y'all let me know if you think that Ukraine will actually win. Do you really think that Ukraine can win against Russia? Just look at the death ratio over there, okay? It's not good for Ukrainians. And Russia has a whole hell of a lot more people, right? Like, I do believe the population of Russia is about 140 million people, as opposed to Ukraine's 30-something million, which is no longer the correct number, right? Because they've had hundreds of thousands of soldiers die in that war. But go ahead, put your little Ukraine flag in your profile pic and say, "Go Ukraine, let's send some more bullets over there so we can kill Ukrainians." That's what you're advocating for, is death of soldiers. I can't buy into that, and I don't like it whatsoever. I don't want Russia to win, for God's sakes. I don't want Russia to win. I think Putin should be brought up to some sort of UN Security Council and be put on trial for invading a foreign nation, a sovereign country, without a legitimate reason, without being attacked. Right, like he said, he's going in there for ethnic cleansing, essentially. And as far as I know, that's a war crime, right? Wow, we all love that term, war crimes. Well, that's a war crime, by the way. That's what Putin has done. Do I think that giving $61 billion to Ukraine is actually going to stop Putin? No, I don't. It's a futile maneuver, and they'll never win. They don't have enough people to win. Use some logic with your thought process, and maybe some of you people can see that. You'll see that the corporate press and the politicians are just lying by saying, "Oh, if we don't help Ukraine, they're going to fall." They're going to fall anyway. They're doomed. Just look at the statistics. Look at the numbers. There is no way Ukraine can win without help from NATO. And you know what that means? That means World War III. If that's what you want, hey, look, I can respect that. At least you're telling people that you want death to the world. You want millions of people to die. Hey, you have the right to have that opinion. But do I have that opinion? No, I don't want World War III. I don't want my way of living to be absolutely destroyed. I don't want millions and millions of people to die. I don't want anybody to be nuked. I want this war to come to a stop. I want Russia to capitulate and get the hell out of Ukraine. Work out some sort of a deal so he can keep his land bridge. He can keep his little strip of land, so he can access Crimea, because that's what his real goal is to gain a foothold in that part of Ukraine so he can have access to Crimea, because now he has access to the Black Sea, which gives him access to the Mediterranean, which gives him access to the Atlantic. That's all he's doing, y'all. Anybody else that buys into this whole denazifying BS, yeah, he doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about that at all. Let's keep going. The overall amount of money provided to Ukraine for the purchase of weapons from the U.S. is roughly the same in the House and Senate bills at $13.8 billion. The main difference between the two packages is that the House bill provides more than $9 billion in economic assistance to Ukraine in the form of forgivable loans. The Senate bill included no such provision seeking repayment. Now, this was something put forward by Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, and you know what? If you want to do it in a loan, fine. But did you hear the little addition to that? Yeah, forgivable loan. Yeah, that's how he's trying to win over some conservatives, by saying, "Oh, no, it's a loan. Hang on, it's a forgivable loan." So all the president would have to do is say, "Oh, it's forgiven." That's all Joe Biden would have to do is say, "No, it's forgiven already," before he comes out of office. So you're just going to give them the money. So you're not really doing anything, Mike Johnson. You're not winning over conservatives. They're not blind. They can see the game you're trying to play here. And that's why they filed a motion to vacate. Mike Johnson is absolutely going against his word. He's breaking his promise. He is disappointing the hell out of Republicans. That is for damn sure. He's disappointed me. The president would be authorized to set the terms of the loan to Ukraine and also be given the power to cancel it. Congress could override the cancellation, but would have to generate enough votes to override a veto, a high bar considering how the two chambers are so evenly divided. Yeah, they would have to have 2/3 majority vote to override a veto. from the president, essentially. Johnson, as he seeks GOP support for the package, noted that former President Donald Trump had endorsed a loan concept. He also noted that the House package includes a requirement for the Biden administration to provide a plan and a strategy to Congress for what it seeks to achieve in Ukraine. That is a good idea. I'm glad he threw that in there, but it doesn't really help. The plan would be required within 45 days of the bill being signed into law. House Republicans frequently complain that they have yet to see a strategy from Biden for winning the war. That's because there is no strategy from Biden for winning the war, because they look at the numbers, they look at what's on the ground, and it doesn't matter how many bullets and tanks and all this other stuff we send over there. Right? As long as Russia continues to work with China, work with India, work with Iran, and work with all these other people, and they're still maintaining their GDP, and all the money's still coming in, Putin is still going to fight that war. It's not hurting Putin whatsoever. So it doesn't matter how many bullets and tanks and all this other stuff we send. Ukraine will eventually run out of soldiers to fight. They will run out of soldiers long before Russia will run out of soldiers. So there is no plan. There can't be a plan because they don't see any way that Ukraine can actually win this. That's why there never has been a plan. This war's been going on for 2 years. We've been sending money over there for that long. And there's still no plan, no way that Ukraine can win this. You know, I'm sorry. I would love if Ukraine would push Russia out of their own territory. I would love that. But it's just not possible. Not without help from NATO, at least. Let me know if you disagree with that down in the comment section, because I would love to debate numbers, right? Numbers are hard to debate. And when, I have the numbers technically on my side, yeah, that's not a debate anybody can actually win. The bill said the report from the administration must be a multi-year plan that spells out specific and achievable objectives. It also asked for an estimate of the resources required to achieve the U.S. objectives and a description of the national security implications if the objectives are not met. Israel. Aid in the legislation to support Israel and provide humanitarian relief to citizens of Gaza comes to more than $26 billion. Wow. Yep, there goes your taxpayer dollars in a deficit, by the way. The amount of money dedicated to replenishing Israel's missile defense system totals about $4 billion in the House and Senate bills. An additional $2.4 billion for current U.S. military operations in the region is also the same in both bills. Some conservatives have been critical of the aid for Gaza. At the end of the day, though, Johnson risked losing critical Democratic support for the package if Republicans had excluded it. The humanitarian assistance comes to more than $9 billion for Gaza, where millions of Palestinians face starvation, lack of clean water, and disease outbreaks, right? But you know what? I feel bad for some of those people because not all of them voted for Hamas to be their government, for Hamas to be their quote-unquote leaders, right? Like some of those people didn't vote for Hamas in, but for the majority of those people, you can't feel bad for them because that's what they voted for, y'all. More than 50% of Palestine's population voted Hamas into power. And when you vote a terrorist organization into power, all you're going to get is death and destruction. Right? Like, Israel didn't ask for Hamas to launch that attack on October 7th. Israel didn't ask for any of this. Indo-Pacific. The investments to counter China and ensure a strong deterrence in the region come to about $8 billion. The overall amount of money and the investments in the two bills is about the same, with a quarter of funds used to replenish weapons and ammunition systems that had been provided to Taiwan. Wow. Yeah, nobody really cares about that, right? Like, nobody is out there deranged about talking about China's going to invade Taiwan. Of course, well, there's a few people out there, right? Like, that is a major thing. We are dependent on Taiwan, for God's sakes. We are somewhat dependent on Israel too, right? Like, we are really good allies with Israel, and, I support Israel. I don't support what they're doing right now. They could, kind of cut it back a little bit and maybe not kill so many civilians, I would love that because I don't like death. But going after a terrorist organization, that kind of war, yeah, whatever. Would I do it? Probably not. But you never know. But the situation in Ukraine's not one of our allies. We're not dependent on Ukraine. Ukraine is a very corrupt nation. And I don't like giving my tax dollars to Ukraine. I don't like that whatsoever. I could care less how evil Putin is. I could care less that he invaded. Right? Like, sure, if they win, they win. Good, whatever. But I don't want to help that. That is corruption incarnate. Just look at the whole Biden situation over there. Hunter Biden was the damn on the board of Burisma, which is a Ukrainian energy company. What does Hunter Biden do? He has a law degree, and he clearly smoked a lot of crack. Joe Biden got the prosecutor fired over there. Yeah, we've gone over that, and I'm not going to get into all that BS. But I love talking about that because a lot of people don't know that happened. That, Hunter Biden called Daddy Joe and said, hey, we got this attorney general over here investigating the company I'm working for. Could you possibly get this guy fired? A couple days later, Joe Biden flies to Ukraine and says, yeah, we're not going to give you the $1 billion in loan guarantees until you fire that attorney general. Who, by the way, was investigating corruption all over Ukraine and was the most productive corruption investigator in Ukrainian history. He had brought down several corrupt organizations. He had brought down so many corrupt organizations that it was more than his past two predecessors combined. And why did Joe Biden have him fired? Oh, for corruption. What? That was the excuse? Yeah, this dude was eliminating corruption. Yeah, it's all a bunch of BS. It is all a bunch of BS. Those people are just lying to you through their freaking teeth. But, like I said, I don't want to harp on that. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about this bill down in the comment section. Do you think it's going to pass? I think it probably will pass. And we'll probably send more of our hard-earned tax dollars to fund war, to let people kill each other. It pisses me off pretty badly. But let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.